Hello, my friend. Welcome to podcast 126. And I'm so happy that you are here with me today. Today, our subject is, are you looking for a fight? There is so much more that is possible than we really have ever imagined. I have been on a quest to understand imagining the impossible. It started with the Bible verse found in 2 Corinthians 4:18. And paraphrased, it says, "The things that we can't see are eternal, and the things that we see are temporary." Another one of my favorite is, "We set our eyes on not what is seen, but what we can't see. For what we see only lasts a short time, but what we cannot see lasts forever." Now, let's think about that. I set my eyes on what I can't see. How is that even possible? It's because we're looking with the eyes of our imagination. And not to focus our attention on what is seen, but what is unseen is a quest. If you think about almost all of our songs, studies we do, books that are written, conversations with our family, our friends, we're all dealing with the difficulties of the things that we see, right? So, how do we live in a way where we are living from the unseen first? To be grounded, to make an impact, not be spacey. And it has become a question that I have continued to ask for over a decade: how to live this way. I've read, I've studied, I've pondered, I've asked questions, I've read books. And to ask the question, how do we live from this place? The first thing that is important to recognize is that there are two kingdoms at work in this world. There's good and evil, and it doesn't take very much looking to find the evil. Evil is propagated, it is talked about, it is spread quickly. Did you hear? The bad news seems to spread really quickly. And I've looked evil in the eye, and I know it's real. But I've also seen the goodness of God, good at work, love at work, and demonstrated kindness and compassion. And it's so much better. We get the two confused, and we can get it twisted when we look at circumstances to explain what's really going on. What's really going on is not always what you see. So I have continued to learn to live life from this place. And I'll tell you, it's so much better than striving. When we can learn to live from this place, it seems like things magically fall into place. Things go easier when you learn how to do it with God's way. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. It comes from the title that I chose. Are you looking for a fight? I would say most of my life in the beginning was fighting something, struggle. I was a teenage mom, and fighting always, fighting a battle everywhere I went. And then you hear phrases: fight for your dream, prepare for the battle, put your armor on. And it's expecting struggle. It's expecting difficulties. I was recently on a DM chat with a woman, and I was talking with her about some of this. And she said, well, how can I expect less when God is the one giving me the problems? That is a lot to go into in a DM. God is not the source of our problems. He's the answer to the difficulties we face in this world. He is not giving you struggles. It says, say, God test no man. There's enough problems in the world and in this world system, and God is always the answer. It seemed that I went through my life expecting adversity. And we will have challenges in this world. But if you want a fight, you will always find one. Whatever you give your attention to is amplified. Let me say it this way. Whatever you focus on is made stronger. What if the opposite was true? That by rest, there is more accomplished than by fighting. What if you could get further ahead by stopping the fighting? One of my programs, the Life by Design program, one of the laws that I teach in there of doing things God's way is called the law of non-resistance. Now, I had a hard time with this one and a hard time grasping it, letting it sink in, even though it made sense when I read it and studied it. But how do you apply this to your life when you keep facing adversity? Someone hurt me, I need to make them pay, or at least be angry about it. It seems to be human nature, right? And so you do this, I'm going to do this. I need to fight for my own. I need to make a way for me, right? I need to prove, I have to struggle. But what if it wasn't possible? What if there was another way? What if we learned how to be non-resistant and things got easier? Jesus expressed this in the powerful thought when he said, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who treat you poorly. That's totally opposite of this human world system that I need to fight for it. Love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them who despitefully use you. Now, I am not talking about, just to clarify, staying in abusive relationships, in anything where you are being abused, mistreated, treated like, you get the picture. I'm not saying that. But when we can learn how to be safe and pray for those who've treated us poorly, you are set free. Because whatever you focus on, you magnify. Jesus was not favoring the enemies or those who treat us bad. Not at all. Jesus is trying to give you a truth that goes beyond what you normally see. And it is for all those who desire to live a life they love of peace and confidence and joy, right? That's what you want. Peace. What a powerful word. Confidence. Rest. Ceasing from struggle. Because whatever you sow, you also reap. If I sow animosity, I reap more struggle in my life. But if I sow blessing, I receive more blessing, irregardless of that individual or group, who whatever the circumstances might have been. When you resist a situation or you fight an opponent, they are always with you. They're in your head, they're in your heart, they're in your body. You feel it all over. And no matter what you do, you can't run away with it. You can't run away from it. You can't change jobs. You can't move out of the state. You can't change locations. Wherever you go, they go with you. It's like fighting a shadow that's following you. And you seem to be going and meeting the same kind of people over and over and over again. Are you tired of the fight? I heard a story that I'd like to share with you. This woman had had a whole bunch of adversity and bad situations. She became a widow suddenly and was trying to figure out how to pay her mortgage. So she decided to rent rooms out and create a boarding house. And when she came in contact with this law of non-resistance, she was bitter and angry and fighting. And she said everyone who was renting rooms where there were quarrelsome and deadbeats and not paying on time. And she didn't know how she was going to make her mortgage. And it was just yucky. So this law of non-resistance was shared with her. It didn't make a lot of sense, but she said, I'll give it a go. So she went home and she met the people that were coming together for dinner with a smile. And she went into the kitchen and asked the people serving if there was anything she could do, if the dessert was ready. And she greeted everybody. There was a one gentleman who was late on his rent. He was having trouble keeping a job. And she said he arrived late. She goes, I'm sorry you missed your dinner. I kept some warm for you. The people were looking at her funny. All of a sudden, someone who was snippy and angry and bitter is smiling at them and caring for them. And as she began to go into this new thought process more and more, she began to really enjoy it. And she noticed these wonderful things about the people living in her home that she'd never really noticed before. And the whole thing transformed over a short period of time. People started looking forward to the dinner as if it was a family. There was warmth and compassion and laughter and joy. And the man who had trouble holding a job, she kept speaking to him encouragement, and he was able to find a job. She was able to pay her rent on time. And her whole life went from loss to a family. And who changed? She did, right? So she became non-resistant to good by making light of the obstacles, the confusion, the loss, and focusing on what she wanted instead, and not what she didn't want. When we can learn these kind of things, these laws, our lives will transformed. Vibrant Living's mission is to empower you to create the life you love the easy way. Stop doing it the hard way. Stop fighting. If you would like to learn this and more, schedule a conversation with me. Let's grab a cup of tea, coffee, if that's your preference, and let's get acquainted and see how you can live more vibrantly. Don't settle, because that's the way it's always been. Don't put up with, because whatever you tolerate will dominate you. When you learn how to do it the easy way, everything goes better. I pray blessings for you and thank you for being part of a vibrant living community. And I will look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now.